with another episode of Two Straws.
Two Straws.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah. You making it through camp okay?
I'm hanging in there. You know, there's something about like a specialist camp that makes everything very simple, but also very annoying. You know, like
a lot of repetition.
Oh my God. It's like, you know, she does this really well, so we got to train it. And I'm just like, fuck, can I just hit something? Like, I just want to hit something. Like, okay, she comes in like this, so you got to do this. So I'm like, fuck, I just want to just not think about this person right now.
Yes.
But I'm getting over the hump. It's like if most camps you want to do like 8 weeks, I'm right at the 4-week mark. So I'm right at the top of that hill and I'm ready to just go running down it, sprinting down it. I did pass today and I felt pretty happy with it. So the motivation is back. The hump was hard to get over, but
the humps can be hard. The humps can fuck you up a little bit.
Why do you think I love doing short notice? There's no hump. There's no hump in a short notice fight.
That just opens up room for like way more anxiety though. There's a lot like, shit, am I in shape? But I always have that conversation in my head all the time. I'm like, oh my God, I'm out of shape. I didn't train hard enough. But yeah, that's very intensified in short notice fights. So I mean, I commend you.
Well, I like to shoot from my hip, you know, like I'm more of a spontaneous feel good fighter than a plan for this person for a long time feel good fighter. Like I feel like I do better in fight camps, but it's just the mood swings and the up and down and just the planning your whole 2 months around this person that pisses me off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it makes me hate them. I don't like them at the end of fight camp.
You're like, I thought you were cool, but no, you suck.
You suck. I missed out on so many fun times because you decided to sign a contract against me.
It's just freaking rude.
Fucking asshole.
But I've got to say, like, I mean, I've seen your sparring sessions and you've looked really impressive. Oh. But the pace that you had last week, I was like, fuck this bitch.
Oh, thank you.
I was like, they got to go in for one round.
Stop. But that makes you feel better.
No, your pace is insane. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
No, it's cool because I think the last fight camp, I actually got to enjoy having a fight camp. I found out about Dakota maybe I think like 12 weeks before we actually fought. So it was a lot of time to just get in shape and enjoy getting in shape. And I have a little more, and we both do, we have a little more control over how we get in shape right now because we're not really with like a big gym. We're just kind of doing it more like a boxer camp. Like you have your coach for this, and this. You show up, you work out. And I think that's actually worked out really well for me the last few fight camps that I've had a long time to focus on someone. So I'm embracing it. I'm embracing fight camp life. I know at this point it's harder for me to get short notice fights. So
yeah, I mean, you kind of cleaned house with those.
Yeah,
and we're just kind of past the COVID stuff, so it's just not going to be as prevalent as it was once. But you know, it is what it is,
dude. You realize that we had 6 strawweight fights in the last 2 weeks.
So I was recapping some of, you know, the fights because I knew that we were going to talk about. I was like, oh my God, there's like a lot. There's a lot to cover.
And not one of those bitches pulled out. That's usually my go-to. If I see that, I have my list. You know, I have my list of upcoming strawweight fights. And I'll see a week where there's like 5, 6 fights, strawweight fights. I'm like, all right, I'm going to peak at this week, you know, just in case. I'm going to hit my sprints for a couple weeks just in case someone pulls out. I'm not going to make it happen, but it might happen. There's a good chance. But all of those girls made it to the fight. So I think the strawweights are getting to act together. There might not be much room for me sliding in there and stealing someone else's meal anymore.
Well, I mean, and now we have, you know, people from 125 cutting some extra weight as Jillian Roberts did.
Yeah.
Roberts.
And, you know, Robertson, yeah. I wasn't surprised that she could make it, but I was impressed with how smoothly she made it. Yes. Because she was not cutting weight, it looked like. It looked like she was showing up at her walk around weight when she fought at 125. So sometimes people like that, they don't really want to embrace the grind of cutting, but she did it smoothly. She looked healthy. She didn't look drawn out. She looked less drawn out than I do when I weigh, and I feel like my weight cuts are pretty easy too, comparatively. So yeah, I was impressed.
For me, when I would cut down to 105, I would do so much road work. I would do so much dieting so that would happen, because I had so much stress about
missing weight.
I'm like, I do not want to like deal with that water weight, especially at that low of a body weight.
Yes.
So I made sure that I was so disciplined. Now I'm like a little bit too lax at 115, because I'm like,
I can have like a little
fine.
more milk in my coffee.
Yeah.
I can have that extra lump of sugar.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's cool. I can have a sip of water while I'm cutting. It's fine. I don't have that much to go. And then you're like, fuck, why did I have that sip of water?
You're like, I am so stupid. I can't believe I did this to myself.
Yeah.
I knew that I was going to put myself in this situation, but I wanted comfort over suffrage over the long term.
There is such a huge... I get mad when I see guys cut weight or switch weight classes. And I get mad when I'll see someone like... I don't know. Who switched weight classes recently?
Gilbert Burns.
Well, he got... I mean, when they go down one. So, like, Jose Aldo.
Okay.
He always looked kind of like... He has really hard, nasty weight cuts. But he looks kind of the same when he makes weight at 145 as he did when he made weight at 135. So I get a little mad because when I weighed in at 106, I did it like twice. I looked like I came out of a POW camp. Like I looked... My eyes were so big, in my little head. You almost look like you go back in time, like you get younger because your eyes are bigger. You can see more of your skull. It's a really, you have like this little lollipop head on this little stick body. I'm like, oh, it's like I never hit puberty, And the guys, they look the same to me because there's more weight to go around.
Yeah.
But when 115ers cut to 105, it's nasty difference.
It's a big difference.
It looks crazy.
It gave me such a complex because there were actually people, because I would diet down so much.
Yeah.
Just because it's a little bit harder to lose water weight when you're already so small. So you just want to make sure that that is not such a big issue. And so I would diet down and I'd be so lean. And I remember somebody was commenting on, it was primarily Facebook back then, but they would say, oh my God, you look so good.
You look like a model. I've done that to you. It's like,
You do that to me a lot.
It's model Jess because you have no ass. That's the only reason. Suddenly your ass is gone. And I'm like, oh, you're like a model. You're like a starving little model. That's why they look so cheekbony, because they have no meat in their face. It's only cheekbones. Models are 90% cheekbones.
They are. They really are.
Imagine shooting on one of them and they hipping. Oh,
Ouch. Oh, that'll cut.
Yeah.
That'll cut.
Laceration.
You'll need stitches.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Should we talk about strawweight fights, or should we talk about like the main fights?
There's so many fights to cover. There really are. There were two really big cards. Well, I mean, Pereira and Adesanya is the big pay-per-view.
Big one.
But we did have a pretty solid main event last weekend with Holloway and
Arnold Allen.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember his name because it's so boring. It's like the most boring name. I mean, I have a boring name. Angela Hill. You would not expect the magnificence before you. If you just read on paper, oh, this girl named Angela Hill's fighting. But Arnold Allen has that same kind of like boringness to his name.
I think of like white bread.
Yes.
When I hear his name.
And when you see him too.
You're like, yeah, PBJ on white bread. Yes, that's him.
Oh, man.
Maybe a bologna sandwich on white bread.
Oh, bologna's too spicy. He's bangers and mash.
Oh.
But UFC Twitter posted like this quick video of him dancing in the octagon. and it was the most white bread thing I've ever seen.
Do you want to get up and demonstrate?
Oh man, it was like this weird like.
What was he trying to do?
I don't know. It was a happy dance. He was happy about it being fight week, so he was doing his little
little happy dance shuffle.
It was adorable, but it was also very
white.
Very white.
Very vanilla.
White. It was very white.
Sorry, Angela. Not everybody can be as, spicy and flavory.
Come on, Jess. We've seen you twerk in the hot tub. We've seen you make it clap. You need to spread your cultural awareness. I don't know.
You've also seen me white girl wasted doing the white girl dance.
Oh yeah,
which is more upper body than anything.
Man, my mom invented that dance, so
your mom.
She's great. Yes, dancing brings everyone together. But Arnold Allen, he is so like quirky and adorable with his just like plainness. It's really funny because he's a fucking beast when he fights. Like that last round, I guess we might as well just talk about it.
Yeah.
That last round, they had like the little coach's corner. You almost thought you were going to have a Leon Edwards moment because the coaches are like, all right, you need to finish him. You need to finish. That's all. Everything. You got to throw everything at him. And he's like, yep, everything. Okay, yep. And he was just very in the moment, very lucid, just aware of what he needed to do. And when he came out, he brought it to Max. Like there were a lot of moments where I was like, oh shit, no, oh shit, it's gonna happen, And then Max was able to style on him a little bit, land some counters of his own, and get out of danger. But it was a really gutsy performance, especially that last round.
I thought that it was, you're going up against one of the best that the featherweight division has ever seen.
Yeah.
So for him to step up, and I felt like it was a big step up from where he was. Not saying that he hasn't earned that position, but it was a big step.
He would have had a little more confidence if his last fight didn't end in a weird way.
Yeah.
Was it Calvin Kattar?
Yeah. That was just terrible luck. He was giving Qatar issues in the first, like before the knee injury. He was starting to give him issues. So I was like, okay, but it's a 5-rounder, and Gator's he's a vet,
he's a notorious like late starter.
Yes,
he likes to look and be like, okay, I'm gonna land that elbow when he does that next round.
He needs a little bit of time to open up and figure out the rhythm and distance and all that kind of stuff. So it was really unfortunate that it ended the way it did. And so we didn't get to see exactly who Allen was, on a main event, but we sure as hell got to see it, and it was really impressive. I didn't think he was winning the fight, but he definitely brought everything he possibly could to Max Holloway, and that was really impressive.
Yeah, I think he I might have given him a round. I don't remember at this point, but it's been a whole 2 days, so don't know what happened. But I remember thinking, okay, Max has this in a bag. Even if he loses this round, he has this in a bag. But he came after him, and that last 10 seconds was such a Max Holloway fight, like classic Max Holloway fight. He got in trouble a little bit, but then he counters hard, wobbles Arnold Allen like crazy, and then just goes, yeah, boy, that's what I fucking talk about. I love those moments. Yeah. He's so amped when he fights. Like, I really love watching him fight just because of that. He's just like so happy to be in there, it seems.
And like, he's a good sport. Like, I haven't seen... Like, there was one time when he was fighting Cater that I was like, oh, don't be a dick, Max.
Oh, no.
But it was about who's the best boxer,
Oh, yeah. So I kind of like that, though.
See, I'm, it
looks cool when it works.
I know. I think Max does it the best because he's got a great personality. He's a nice guy. He's very, fun, charismatic. So I don't mind when he gets a little... showy, because I don't find it disrespectful, but there are others that I'm like, you guys just really like being jerks.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. The reason I thought it was cool is because it wasn't like he was styling against a grappler or someone who notoriously didn't have hands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he was styling against someone who is just as dangerous as him on the feet, and he's like slipping and looking the other way and going, I'm the best boxer in the world, and landing punches. It was insane.
Yeah.
It was really insane. So I thought it was impressive enough to let it slide that he was kind of being a dick. Just because it was impressive.
We forgave him.
I didn't forgive Cody No Love for dancing against Dom because the dances weren't cool enough.
Were they too white for you?
They were hard on Allen-esque. I think he went like this.
He did the robot. He did, yeah, it was like the 80s. And to the wave.
It was okay. It was impressive, but I was still like, "Come on, bro, that's my friend."
Cody, I like you. Stop being mean.
Stop being mean to him. He does the dances, not you. But yeah, it was a huge step up, going all the way back to what you're saying. It was a huge step up in opponent, and I thought he did good. I don't think he lost any stock from that. He lost a little bit of momentum just because obviously a win means title shot next. But I think because he's such a new face and he's such a go-getter, it's only going to motivate him to go forward. And a lot of lessons that he didn't get to learn in the Qatar fight, he got to learn in this one. So he's going to be a beast the next time he comes out.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely one of those guys to watch out for. So yeah, I can't wait to see what he does. If we are going to mention, all the stuff about Cater, we have to mention his boy Rob Font, because they are such the most adorable bromance I've ever seen in MMA. I have such like a little crush on their bromance. It's so adorable. They're so cute together.
They are.
And Rob freaking beasted it.
Yes.
He was incredible. I think I really do think that he has some of the best boxing. I mean, yes, there are great boxers in that division.
Yeah.
He's definitely, top 2, top 3.
Yeah, for sure.
I love the way he puts his boxing together, and he was so impressive.
Yeah, he was good. And a lot of people, I think he was a 4-1 underdog that night because, I think he had a couple losses. He was coming off a loss against Vera, against Aldo. So people were thinking, and including me, people were thinking, Adrian Yanez, he is a power puncher. He's able to get in and not only throw power, but volume. He's going to be able to get in and land on this guy. And Yanez, he has just been skyrocketing up in the rankings and people's street cred meter or whatever you call it. Like people know Adrian Yanez's name. And then Rob Font was just able to be a little craftier in there, just able to find his mark. And I think there was some more motivation there too. Like, he has a new kid, a baby girl, I think, very cute. Running in and out of the house. Close my door. Letting all the air out. He has a baby. That's why the mama Ange came out. And that has to be a motivator. I know when I got my first son, Butcher, from the rescue. Totally the same thing.
Totally.
When you have a
new motivation.
baby. Yes, exactly. I'm like, I gotta get Butcher a doghouse. I got to get him some new toys. He doesn't like his old toys. He ripped them up. He needs new toys, premium toys that don't get ripped. I need to get him a jacket.
He's going to get cold.
He gets cold. It's a cold house.
You got to send him to school.
Yeah.
It's really important to educate puppies these days.
Yeah, and he's a runner,
Yeah, he is. We all know that. Oh my goodness.
Geez, so I gotta get him off leash trained. That's money. That's money that only a bonus will fix.
Exactly. Exactly.
Rob Font came in there just looking beastly and landed some nice punches. Just caught Yanez. And, when you see the knockout, you've seen it in the past where Yanez kind of looks at what he did. He lands a couple and he kind of stays there right here. And Rob Font was just able to come over the top of that and make him pay for it. So yeah, Giannis will be better for it, of course. You know, he's a young gun. He's coming up. But I think Rob Font really needed that win. Like, that was one of those, hey, you still got it, buddy, kind of fights, and he was able to show out. So I think that was a really big win for him.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely propel him in the division. It just, like, it reminds everybody who he is, where he's at, and he's, you know, I think he is, you know, part of the, you know, top 5 maybe conversation. That's my opinion. I think, you know, the division is so stacked, but I feel like he could get a top 5 next.
Yeah, I'm wondering what he is. I kind of want to check that, what his ranking is.
That's a good question.
Days. But since we're talking about people reminding them who they are, did you see Barboza? We're just jumping back and forth, but I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. Barboza's knee was on fire, dude. He threw that tiger knee. Boom. Just fucking,
I know. Poor guy.
Oh, it was beautiful.
No, it was. He came out like, you know, he first did when he came out, when he was, you know, knocking people out with spinning kicks and just throwing these like crazy, heavy, impressive kicks. He's never really, you know, deviated from who he is. He just uses it so well. Mm-hmm. You know, I can't say that there are no wasted movements or anything like that, but when he throws and it's devastating, and he's just, when he wins, it's in such an impressive form.
Dude, it's so nasty.
It is.
Yeah, and he hasn't had a win like that in
it's been a while. No, he's fought some grapplers, and he's
Yeah.
had some really tough fights. Mm-hmm. And he really hasn't, he's been put on his heels more in his fights, and he really hasn't been able to showcase it. But he came out and he asserted himself, and he got the win because of it.
Dude, he asserted himself, but also he was kind of you could tell he was waiting for that shot. Like he was waiting. He stayed at the perfect distance the entire time. And then when he finally pulled the trigger, it was the perfect moment. I feel like he only threw that knee in the whole fight. But I'm not sure. I'm gonna. I may be mixing it up with Roy Val's fight, because that was a very similar fight where he was just like keeping a good range, and then bam, nasty knee. It was a good card last weekend.
No,
like
it really was.
Good, like sneaky good card.
Yeah, I really wasn't expecting it. And then, you know, on Saturday, I'm, you know, bringing up the fight card and looking at it, and I was like, holy crap.
So, just to go back, Rob Font is ranked number 6.
Okay.
And then at of course, at the top, we have Aljo. Then number 1, we have Merab Dvalishvili, Sean O'Malley, Corey Sandhagen, Piotr Jan, and Marlon Vera. So, definitely going to see him fighting one of those guys. I think a fight against Marlon Vera would probably be a good one. Or Piotr Jan. Like, did he fight him yet? I don't remember.
No, they haven't fought yet.
Oh, well, he fought Vera before, and that one, he kind of just got rocked a bunch. And I think that was the fight that made everyone think that Giannis was going to beat him. Rob Font was just outscoring him.
The whole fight, but Vera...
out of nowhere.
I was like, even though, you know, Vera did damage in that fight, but he wasn't throwing enough. Rob Font outvolued him in every single round.
Yeah.
And if it hadn't been, there was a knockdown, I think it was in the 5th. And I feel like that just kind of was very like prevalent in the judges' minds when they scored it. So it's like, I just felt bad that all of that body of work was completely derailed because of the damage.
Yeah.
Because you could look at it, I know people aren't going to agree with me, but you could look at it and you could say Rob Font won that fight.
Yeah, but it's like the way that Vera gets out of the way of stuff, it's really, I don't know, it's hard to put a pin on it, because you can't say, oh, they're just insignificant strikes, because they're still landing.
No, yeah.
But he'll roll with stuff, and he'll like slip things just slightly and really wait for that opening to hit. And that's why his punches do so much more damage than Rob Font's. I don't think he necessarily hits that much harder, but he's waiting for the right opportunity. He has his energy all saved up for these 3 punches he's going to throw in the round, and it ends up swaying the fight, because the first thing that they're supposed to score a fight on is who had the most fight swaying attacks, like who did the most to like really change the momentum of the fight. And every time Cheeto got hit, he's like rolling with it, moving, still on his feet, still lucid. Every time Font got hit, he was like dropping down to one knee. His face was all mashed up. So I get why they scored it for him. But like if people were going just on a points basis, then he could have won those rounds because it's like, oh, you scored more points. These punches, these hard punches are the same as these not so hard punches or these glancing punches, you know? But yeah, I think this was a good redemption fight for him because obviously he took that to heart. Like, I can't just score volume. I need to hurt these guys. And that's why you got like such a nasty knockout with Yanez. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. So yeah, Barbosa had a nasty knockout with the knee. Royval, who is one of my favorite new guys right now, Brandon Royval, he like just goes out and throws everything in the kitchen sink. He's nasty on the ground. He's nasty on the feet, and he just doesn't give a fuck. Like that's his style. He doesn't give a fuck. And in this fight, I forget. Let me see, who did he fight? He fought somebody this weekend and knocked him out nasty with a knee.
Nicolo.
Yes. And Nicola, he's good, you know, like he's not a scrub. I'm pretty sure he's in top 15. Pretty sure. But yeah, Royval, he was able to keep his distance. He kind of switched stance a bit, and then eventually Nicolau like closed the distance, and he was just like there for that knee up the middle. Oh, it was so nasty. Dropped him immediately, and then the fight was over. So I always love a good knee knockout. It makes me amped for my own fight coming up. I'm like, watch out, Mackenzie. Big old chomp on my knee. We should talk about the main event on UFC 287 because we haven't touched on that yet.
Oh no, we haven't. So we're done with UFC Fight Night.
Are we? Let me see. Let me glance over it real quick.
I mean, we can talk about the worst decision ever.
Oh, or I haven't.
We can talk about how Clay Guida faked his retirement.
Oh yeah,
to get some camera time so he could say happy birthday to somebody.
Well,
there's a few more notes, but nothing pressing.
There's a few more, but let's get to the nitty gritty first, and then on our exclusive Fightpass stuff, we can get into the riffraff. But yeah, let's talk about that Adesanya fight. Holy shit.
Ooh.
So, who did you think was going to win going into this?
I thought Adesanya was going to get it.
Okay.
Just because of the history, because of how he showed his skill set in their first MMA outing. I thought that he really utilized the grappling well. I thought that he was landing more volume. He hurt him in the end of the second round in their first fight. So I was like, you know what? I think that he has just more MMA IQ, more MMA experience. Yeah. He's been doing it longer. He has more tools in the toolbox in this particular, setting. And then seeing how the first fight went, I was like, oh, I think he's going to get it this time. I did not see it ending the way it did.
Oh,
I didn't. I mean, not that he couldn't have done it. Not that, it's not possible for him to knock him out. I just thought, I was like, okay, he is probably going to take all of the notes from their previous fight and he's, going to execute it in a similar way. Not the same, but similar.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah. No, I was pretty surprised that it ended so quickly.
Yes.
I understood it though. Like, so I was wondering if he would try to grapple more. And I think we talked about that before the fight. Like, will he try to grapple more in the fight? And one thing that you have to worry about is to know how to be efficient with the wrestling, it takes a long time.
Sure.
I mean, we've been working on it forever, and I'm still like, as soon as I get to someone's hips, I'm like, okay, I'm doing it right? Oh, I'm so tired. Are they down yet? So it's one of those things that takes a long time to do, and I had a feeling that he tired himself out in that grappling round he did, where he was just like on Pereira like the whole time, just on his back, hanging on there with his like Pinocchio legs and stuff. I'm gonna get you. And and then I got to talk to his coach, and he said, yeah, that was a big part of our game plan, was not doing that this time, because he was winning it on the feet. Why waste that energy to win a round when eventually you're going to lose the fight? So it took a lot from his gas tank, he was saying, in the first fight. And in this camp, they wanted to focus on staying on the feet and just beating him in those areas that he was beating him in the first fight. Mm-hmm. And like you said, the history of all their fights, Adesanya was winning all those fights until the very last moment that he lost it. You know, he won it in the first fight, I felt like. Then in the next one, he got him with an 8 count. And then because it was Muay Thai or kickboxing, you get an 8 count and then you reset, and then he got knocked out bad. So this time he was actually able to beat him up, and he hit almost the same exact combo that he wobbled him with in the second round of the third fight, first MMA fight. He hit him with almost the same exact combo that put him down. So he hit it a little earlier, was able to capitalize on it, and then won the fight. So I was really impressed with that.
Yeah, I thought that. I don't know Pereira well enough, like his past fight experience, but he seems to not make the adjustments that Adesanya makes. Mm-hmm. And so he was still defending the same way. He's just he's telegraph. I mean, he hits like a freight train. So, you know, all he needs to do is connect once. And I think that's what gives him so much confidence and what pushes people back so much.
Yeah.
But when you go against such an intelligent, seasoned striker like Adesanya, you know, you have to be able to make those adjustments, and I just didn't see those adjustments.
Yeah, well, it's I think his adjustments were probably on cardio. Mm-hmm. And they were probably on just being a little more aggressive and trying to get the fight over with a little sooner. Because he had success when he pushed Adesanya up against the fence. Yeah. Like, that's where he had success. He had success with the leg kicks. He was throwing way more earlier this fight.
Yeah.
So I think those calf kicks were making a big difference. And I think he went for the kill a little too soon. Like, he was like, oh, I got him hurt. Adesanya backs up to the cage. He's like, okay, this is where I open up. This is where I, like, retain my title. And that's when he was able to catch him. So I think it wasn't just him having to make adjustments, but I think there was a little trap laid out there. I think Adesanya knew if he backed up to the fence, that's when Pereira was going to come forward, and that's when he was going to, like, smell blood. And that's when he got the knockout last fight. So it's hard to adjust something when it worked last fight. Yeah. You know what I mean? And, I think Adesanya just has always had his number, but was never able to have the right circumstances to get the win. And that's why it's probably a big moral victory for him, because he's like, finally beat this fucker.
Well, it was a moral victory until he taunted a child.
I mean...
But that's neither here nor there.
I mean, I know how you feel about children. I feel like if you were in that situation, you'd do the same thing.
No.
Absolutely
not.
Definitely do the same thing.
No.
If somebody's kid wants to make fun of me, I'm like...
No, we're gonna have a conversation, but I'm not gonna act like a child.
I'm gonna be like, fuck you, kid. Fuck them kids. That hey, the only reason I'm okay with it is because Alex Pereira said that his kid wanted to do it after their last fight, after the last MMA fight, which was less than a year ago. So it's not like he did it when he was 5 and then he was never going to do it again. He had to be told not to do it again. So he still wanted to do it.
Yeah.
He thought about doing it this time. And then his dad got knocked out and then he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But he wanted to do it. That's probably the only reason he was crying. Like, I can't do it now.
Oh.
But no, I get the pettiness, man. I get the pettiness. Kids are assholes.
No, I get that. I get that. And
so, like,
and,
it's a harmless lesson to learn. No one got hurt physically. Just emotional damage.
Scarred for the rest of his life.
He's not going to do that shit again. He won't get in other people's grown folks' business again.
Well, he should have been. It should have been dealt with.
Scar. That's like
if that was my kid,
learned.
I'd have grabbed him with a fucking whatever I could in public and escort him over and make him apologize.
Yeah.
And then we would have had a stern talking to. And by stern, I mean it would have been behind closed doors.
So if that didn't happen, would you be surprised if someone was still annoyed by that?
Say again?
I said if that didn't happen, if there was no stern talking to, no apology, like...
Oh yeah, I mean
the lesson has been taught by someone else.
Yes. It should have been dealt with previously though. That's what I'm
saying. I'm petty as fuck. So it has my seal of approval for pettiness.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I'm still like, every time I'm in the PM, like, what's up, Claudia? And she's just like looking away, being weird. Hello. Uvamo, hey. Petty as fuck.
I try not to be.
Yeah, well, it's freeing sometimes. In other news, my now doppelganger, everyone keeps tagging me in photos of Gilbert Burns because he has a mini fro. He had an awesome performance against Jorge Masvidal. Just did what everyone expected him to do. Like we thought like we might get a finish, we might get like a TKO or a sub or even a knockout because Burns has hands too. But just kind of showed him that he was on a different level. And I think that's what Gilbert needs to keep doing in order to get back to that title shot.
I think that Burns has been so impressive in his last few outings. Since he's gone up a weight class, he looks a lot healthier. He can hit a lot harder. He's always been, one of the high output kind of fighters, but man, he has just been on another level and it's been so impressive. And, he ended up being Masvidal's retirement fight. And it did show just the gap, it showed what was missing with Masvidal, and hats off to him. He had a wonderful career, and I've always been a fan of him. But definitely Burns just was on another level, and I think that he's got to be like next in line behind. I think that they said what's his name is going to get the title.
Colby.
Yeah.
But what about Bilal? Bilal's another one waiting.
I don't want to see Bilal. I don't want to see him get a title fight. I'm sorry. I can never pay attention during his fights.
Why?
You know why.
Oh. I thought it was like something weird that he does.
No. No, listen.
Bilal's been on fire though.
He has. He is super, super good at what he does. He has a great, strong wrestling game. He has good hands. He's just a very solid fighter, but he's not going to sell a pay-per-view.
Well, his nickname kind of says it all, right? Remember the name. That's his nickname because people keep forgetting about him. I feel bad about it, but I feel like that's kind of the joke is that people keep forgetting about him and he keeps getting passed over. And he's on a crazy streak right now. And then I think his last 2 fights he got finishes, so he's got to be next in line behind or next to Gilbert, next to that Shavkat guy, next to Colby.
He's going to be waiting a long time.
It's just like a log jam at the top of that weight class. So,
and it's one of those. It's that weight class that is like really exciting, really stacked, and whoever has more entertainment value is going to get that because that's what they want to sell pay-per-views. Yeah. It's still an entertainment sport.
Yeah, for sure. So I was wrong. His last fight was
it against Brady?
Finish. Yeah, but it wasn't two. It was the last one. But his fight against Vicente Luque was domination, and I didn't expect that. So I feel like Bilal Muhammad has just leveled up insanely every time he gets out there. Every win, he's just getting better and better. I think the only reason people aren't super excited about seeing him fight Leon Edwards is because we kind of had a preview and it wasn't going well for him before he got poked in the eye. Like, it wasn't going great. But he gets so much better each fight. I wouldn't be surprised if he could put Leon on his heels. I wouldn't. And you know it's going to happen eventually. Like, it has to happen, especially if he keeps winning. It has to happen eventually. Like, it's only a matter of time.
Does it, though?
It will. Like, it will.
Will it?
Who's the chick who got the title shot against, fuck, I can't think of it. But somebody got the title shot against, I think it was Ronda Rousey. And everyone was just like, why? Was it Alexis Davis?
Probably.
She had like an 8-fight win streak. And everyone's like, why is she getting the title shot? And then they look at her record and they're like, oh, she won a bunch of fights. No one else has. But
I mean, that's a good comparison, though.
Yeah.
No, it really is.
A lot of the fights were not memorable. There weren't any big moments in those fights. A lot of like kind of could go either way, but she was pretty lucky with the decisions and was getting win after win. So even though people were confused, on paper it made sense. So even if Bilal has to wait out the more popular fighters, it's going to happen eventually because his style is very unbeatable.
It's a pretty solid style.
It's a solid style. And talk about making adjustments. Every time that guy comes up against someone who I'm like, oh, he might give him trouble, he'll just switch one thing. He'll change one way that he approaches the fight and just fuck him up. It's really impressive. Whatever he's doing, he should write a book about it because he's come up with a way. It's kind of like the Dagestanis, you know, like,
wasn't he? That's who he was training with.
He was training with those guys his last fight, but I feel like he's just his mentality and the way he approaches fights is very it's just very smart. So I mean, even if people aren't excited about you fighting, you're winning. You're cashing checks. You know, you get both of your paychecks at the end of the day, and that's all that really matters.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It is. However, it'll get you at the back of the line.
Yeah.
It will.
Just remember the bank statement. That's all you need. Remember the bank statement. So after that, any other fight you want to kind of chop up about on 287? Because we did a lot on the fight night that just happened this weekend.
Well, we can talk about. Actually, you know what? I'm going to save it for our exclusive content.
Oh,
see what I did there?
Wow, we could talk about that. Well, if you guys want to continue to hang out with us, make sure to go to Fightpass and subscribe to our exclusive content. If not, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bitches.